Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Monday, the 21st day of April, 2025. It is Monday of the Easter octave, Monday of the Easter of the first week of the Easter season. It is the second day of the Easter season. And while we in our church begin to navigate and to mourn the death of Pope Francis earlier this morning, again, we take consolation in the fact that if there's any time to move from this life into the next, to doing that within the Easter season is very appropriate because again the new life that Christ promises us is now being visited upon Pope Francis, and he is experiencing the joy of resurrection in a very profound and powerful way. So keeping him in our prayers, keeping his family in our prayers, keeping the church as it moves into a new future with the election of a new pope very soon. We continue to celebrate new life and new hope and new glory that this Easter season gives to us. So the interior of our church here at St. Francis, still looking lovely and beautiful after all of the visitation and people who came to be a part of the celebrations yesterday. Again, just the beginning of 50 days, 50 grand, wonderful days that will be this Easter season, lasting into June itself, June 8th, the last day of the Easter season with the celebration of Pentecost. But our first reading from Acts today basically anticipates Pentecost already. It's Peter's great speech that he gives to the people in Jerusalem after the Spirit has been visited upon the apostles and upon the Blessed Mother in that upper room. And basically what he says is, again, you tried to get rid of God. You tried to get rid of Christ because you thought that he was a nuisance. In the name of peace and quietness, you tried to get rid of God, and you did it by unlawful means, by trumped up charges and all kinds of other things. But God rescues Jesus from this. God rescues Jesus from annihilation. God rescues Jesus from becoming just another period in the annals of history. God basically creates in Christ a new beginning, again, in which having destroyed or trying to destroy God, trying to destroy the message of God, trying to destroy God's presence in our lives is not responded to with equal destruction. It is not responded to with annihilation of ourselves. It is not responded to with chaos and catastrophe. It is responded to with new life and new hope. And even as Peter says, David in his Psalms and in his words, in his language, also anticipated. King David anticipated the coming of this Messiah and who Christ was to be and who Christ continues to be for us. And never to forget that and to realize, again, the power of what God can do, again, for those who dare to believe, to trust in God, to be given, again, the hope of life and the wonder and beauty of life, even when all seems lost, even when all seems gone, even when all seems incapable of ever being put back together again. This is what God does. In the Gospels today, we will hear again and again different accounts of the resurrection from the different Gospels, as well as the appearances that Jesus gives to the apostles and to the women especially, the first ones, to witness the resurrection. Those who are able to give birth in the world are given the privilege now of giving birth to a new creation, to a new future, to a new tomorrow, to a new destiny. Because God chose them to be the first witnesses of Christ rising from the dead. And so in Matthew's gospel, again, Jesus meets these women who come to the empty tomb as they're going from it, wondering what has happened, telling them basically, go and tell my disciples that I will meet them in Galilee. They are to become the messengers to those who are the messengers. Again, the apostles to the apostles. Mary Magdalene, Salome, Joanna, many other names these women go by, but Mary Magdalene is kind of the most prominent of them. The thing that then also happens within this passage from Matthew's gospel is, again, what is sort of understood as to why at times, again, we have to be careful with this too, why it is at times that Judaism did not accept Jesus as the Messiah, because the guards were bought off. The guards were basically told to tell people that the body was stolen by the apostles and that he did not rise from the dead. And Matthew's gospel basically says that's the story that continues to this day. Now, Matthew is also writing with an edge because he's trying to write to his Jewish brothers and sisters, telling them that what has happened in Christ has fulfilled the prophets, has fulfilled the expectations, but there is resistance. And so whether or not this happened, whether or not this is made up, is always a question. But it remains, again, something that is to consider as to why it is that people find it so difficult to believe that Christ Christ has risen from the dead? Was it indeed a buying off of guards who told a lie that basically took on legs and has a life of its own? Regardless of which, though, Christ is risen. Our life together with Christ continues, and new hope and new wonder abounds in this season that is supposed to lead us into the rest of this year. To remember that allows us to sing Alleluia. To remember that allows us to give praise to God. To remember that allows us to be confident in our own glory, in our own future, and in our own destiny with God. A blessed Easter season, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.